Hey there, everyone. Kevin Creighton with Shooting Illustrated. Welcome to Shooting Illustrated Interviews. Today, we're very happy to have John Correia of Active Self-Protection. Now, I've known John for quite a while, and I've really enjoyed watching what he does with Active Self-Protection really take off and blossom and become its own thing. It really started out as a YouTube channel, and now it's a YouTube channel and training and apps and all this, that, and the other thing. It's really become a new media empire. And, there are a lot of people out there saying, well, new media is a fad or new media doesn't like guns. And John's proof that you can actually play in the new media space and be very successful at it. You just got to know the rules. And, that line from the Matrix movies, know the rules. Some of them can be bent and some of them can be broken. And John's been able to really work within the rules and make a really good, successful, and very useful tool for everybody, all of us who are concerned about armed self-defense. I mean, I know so many trainers out there who will illustrate their point being made with one of John's videos. I do it in my classes. There's a great video of a counter assault in South America that I use in one of your videos. Perfectly illustrates what I try to talk. And it's such a great resource, and he's got a lot of things going on. We're privileged to have him for a few minutes here to talk to him about it. So, John, welcome.
Thank you very much. I will correct one small thing.
Oh, yeah.
Active Self-Protection didn't start as a social media company. Active Self-Protection started as me as an NRA certified firearms instructor teaching NRA classes, and then trying to make my training more evidence-based. I started doing videos because somebody sent me one, and I looked at it and I went, whoa, and I took it to my martial arts teacher and I was like, Shifu, I don't know what to do about this. And we used it in class to make, to find some answers for that problem. And I was like, wow, we could use these videos, like videos that we see of real life, to make our training better. Well, that's kind of cool. And that's where the videos came from. So I was actually a firearms trainer beforehand, though the company kind of got its feet under it as a social media company.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we've been in a lot of same classes. We're both range master grads. We're both, very eclectic in our approach to this and picking and choosing and saying, okay, there's a lot of great instructors out there. Walk me through like a typical setup for an ASP video. It's 7:00 in the morning on a Monday morning, and you got to make the donuts. What's the process going on this?
So away a lot of the in batches, right? So it's so much more efficient. Somebody who makes content, that if you do everything bespoke, you'll end up having problems. We will do stuff that is kind of one-off if it's super important to get ahead of things. But typically, for instance, so it's not just me. I mean, Active Self-Protection has 15 employees, so which is nuts. If you'd asked me when I started Aspen 2011, hey, you ever see yourself having 15 employees to take care of and families to feed? I'd be like, what, are you kidding me? But I have a couple of employees who do nothing but clear our Facebook private messages, and we have an email address that's set up specifically for people to send requests in and videos that they see that are posted all over the world on different social media sites. And then those get sent to me in big chunks. I get a bunch too because, everybody wants to send them directly to me. So I actually, believe it or not, have an employee who checks my email for video submissions so that I don't have to do that every day. Then I get this big list of videos. Here's all these encounters. Then I look through every single one of those, decide, okay, because my employees don't watch every single video like I do. And so, nope, already done that one. Every once in a while, there's 3,500 of them now. So it's like, wait, have I already done that one? Let me go look. Once we get all that, then I got to go and get news stories to the best I can. So if you'd told me that teaching self-defense involves learning Google Fu and Portuguese and Korean and Spanish and Russian and Latvian and figuring out how to do all that, I would have laughed at you. But once you actually know what happened, do we have the best version of the video, all those things. Then I will sit and put together, if you've watched one of our main channel videos, I do a short intro on camera where I say, here's where the video came from. Here's, what kind of we got going. Then we jump in, we watch the incident once over, and then we go again and we stop at key moments to do lessons. So what I'll do then is I will do all the intros at once. I'll do 30 intros in one day. And that might be, once doing all the research is like a full day or two of work on maybe, 30 videos. And then doing the intros might be a full day of work. And then sitting down and realizing, okay, let's watch this 5 or 6 times and what really happened here and what are the lessons that I can learn. And then finding the spots, where do I want to stop and talk? Like, what are the parts that I go, oh, let's stop right here. Let's put an arrow here. Let's make sure that we know. And how long do I want to talk about that? 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. I don't actually script videos. So sometimes people go, John, how much script writing do you do? When I go back to, I was a vocational pastor for 14 years. And right after I got out of seminary, my mentor said I couldn't take notes into the pulpit anymore. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he said, I want you to connect to your audience. And in order to connect to your audience, you got to give up the notes and just talk to people. If you know your message well, you'll be able to do that. So I took that idea that I got good at in the pulpit and brought it into this. So I'll just say, okay, I want to talk about this, and I'll have, it'll probably take me 45 seconds to make that point, and then set those up. And I'll do maybe 10 of those at a time. And then go back and, okay, let's sit down, turn the cameras on, and then talk that talk, right? Talk through it. And 10 of those might take me a full day of work. So by the time you get, okay, this is a day of work, this is a day of work, this is a day of work, this is a day of work. It's amazing how fast the week goes. And so then it gets sent over to my editor. My editor currently is my middle child, who does a very good job of it. And they are living on their own in the other side of the country. And so we do that. That gets uploaded first into our family of applications, our family of apps, and then onto YouTube. There's a whole quality control team that makes sure that everything is right on it. And then a moderation team. The big channel, I don't get to see tons of comments anymore. There's too many. There's 7,000 or 8,000 a day. And it's just, it's an overwhelming number. So we have kind of a mod squad, we call them, that make sure, we try to get rid of really nasty racism, really nasty ugliness, and then answer honest questions when they come up. Hey, I didn't understand this. Okay, let's answer that. We have, a second YouTube channel called Active Self-Protection Extra, where we teach handgun skills, rifle skills, shotgun skills.
Which I've been on a couple of times. I remember that. Thank you very much. Yep.
Legal and moral self-defense. We do some gear reviews over there. That's not just me. Neil Widener is over there all the time, our CMO. His daughter, Natalie, we call the Range Monkey, and she's got a day every week that she's on there. We do legal and moral self-defense with an attorney. So I have to film all those too. Where right now, as it currently stands, we release 18 curated videos a week.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot of content, and it's very popular content. You've got I was talking, just past 3 million subscribers on the main channel. That's amazing. So the desire's out there. There's a lot of people out there who are feeling a little uncertain right now, a little nervous about the way the world is going right now, and they're not exactly unjustified in those feelings, I think, either. What are some of the lessons that I don't know how many incidents you've seen. What are some of the big picture lessons you've learned from all these?
Yeah, at this year's NRA annual meeting, the seminar that I taught was lessons learned from analyzing over 40,000 gunfights.
Wow.
We've got 3,500 of them on the channel, on the big channel. So, we always say the number one lesson is that attention buys you time and time buys you option. If you're paying attention to your world, most people, they get eaten because they look like food. And remember, a violent criminal actor just looks at you like you are a sack of meat. You're an ATM, you're a vending machine for their needs. And so if you're paying attention, you can almost always, not always, but oftentimes see that coming far enough to be the gazelle that goes, I'm going to bounce out of here and not be chosen to get ate that day.
The stuff that like Gavin DeBecker would talk about, or Dr. William April, rest his soul.
100%.
Yeah.
And I took several of Dr. April's courses before he passed, and incredible guy about knowing the psychology of violent criminals. As a plug, I think the up and coming, not replacement, will never replace Dr. April, but I think the next guy that's going to be big in that space is Ross Hick. I think you're going to see him really take a big leap in that arena. So yeah, Gavin DeBecker, that gift of fear, that paying attention to your space, and that's number one. Number two, that we say that the most common places for attack in public. Now, the most common place you're going to get assaulted is in your home, and it's some kind of a domestic, whether somebody lives in your home or, and we say I have to be real. The number one vector, the most likely vector of violence in someone's life is the male head of their household. That's the honest truth. Now, that's not more than all the other ones combined, but the single largest number is the male head of household, which of course you and I would both decry, right? We're adults, we use words, we love the people that we live with. But in a public setting, we call them transitional spaces. And those transitional spaces are places where people are coming and going often. They're places that are easy to get into, easy to get out of, with valuables present.
And your shopping mall parking lots, cinemas, places like that. Anytime, your big box, your big box appliance, or not appliance store, but grocery stores and stuff like that, where you have two groups of humanity that may not interact on a regular basis.
Right.
They're forced to interact because they both need stuff from that store.
Yeah, and we say, what's the problem with the Walmart parking lot is it's full of Walmartians, and that in and of itself is a problem. Now, if you're in the back of the Walmart, you're not in a transitional space there. They're going to have a heck of a time getting away with the stuff. But when you walk out that door into the parking lot, you are, remember, you're old enough to remember Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you get around the watering hole and man, the gazelle have got to come there to get a drink. And guess what? The cheetah knows that too. And so, he shows up there in order to get a snack. So you just got to know when you approach the watering hole, you better pay attention to your world.
And it's not just the Walmarts, it's any time where there was a group of home invasion guys. I think it was Dr. April who mentioned this, that, they would follow people home from shopping malls. And the one thing they were looking for was the white bag. And Dr. April said, the white bag? I don't know. What's white bag? He says, the white bag with the Apple logo on it.
Yeah.
Because that crew knew that anybody could afford to shop at an Apple store had money, and it was worth their time to go after them.
Well, and we're seeing even simpler than that. I mean, I'm seeing so many attacks from all over the country of follow home robberies from banks. Wow. People kind of, there's this, in some segments of society, they don't trust banks, they don't like banks, and so they deal in cash. So, I went and withdrew a large sum of cash in order to buy this thing. And guess what? A bunch of dudes followed me home, bonked me over the head, and took my big sack of cash. Now, is that an inside job? Maybe, but, they're getting sophisticated enough that if you're doing that kind of stuff, you got to pay attention. Convenience stores, they call them stop and robs for a reason. Easy to get into, easy to get out of, valuables present, money in the till, people's, wallets. Places like that. And then number three one always is carry your dang gun. The number of people that I know that can carry a firearm that don't, and the number of people who send me their surveillance videos of them getting mugged, and they say, John, my big chagrin is I knew that I left my gun at home that day, and as soon as it started, I went, oh no, if only I'd brought my gun. And they end up getting mugged.
Yeah.
Tom Givens in his research, I think he said, last I remember, I think his students are 64-0-3 in real gun fights.
He's up to 68 now. I just talked to him this year on that. Yeah.
68-0-3, 68 wins, 0 losses, 3 forfeits of people who were completely compliant but didn't have their gun that day and end up getting killed anyways. And so I always say this, listen, I'm a man of faith, and I just joke all the time that, listen, I'm not going to go home to Jesus and him look at me and go, where was your gun, dummy? I'm just not.
My we were going out to a grocery store a few years ago, and I said, I'll be right back. I gotta get on my gun. I had a little pocket pistol with me, but I carry something bigger normally. And my son looked at me and he said, Dad, we're going to the grocery store. Do you really need a gun? And I said, dude, if I were going someplace where I thought I might need a gun, I wouldn't go there.
Bingo.
That's what SWAT cops are for. That's what the Marines are for. Let them do that job, stuff like that. Yeah, it's simple rules, but we all know we have the lure of the smartphone, and I love my smartphone. I have the cold dead hands as far as I'm concerned. I'm never going to be without it. But it is it's a distraction as well. I can't tell you how many times here, and it must be a Florida thing. I don't know what it is, but I will see somebody in their parking lot of a grocery store. The car's running. Their phone's connected to their Bluetooth in their car, and they're talking with usually a relative at the top of their voice, and the conversation is so loud I can hear through their closed windows 3 cars away. And I'm like, you're just sitting up a sign there that says, "Hi, I no longer like my car. Please take it from me."
Yes.
Just things like that. I told, when I first got on the internet, I learned something. I said, the trick to the internet is you need to pay attention to what you're paying attention to.
Hmm.
And I think that's true just about anywhere in society like that. Then that's good tips, that you've seen. It's simple, easy to follow stuff. It's not super
Yeah,
secret
and
ninja squirrel stuff.
this is why we make checklists. So, how do you know somebody's a pilot? They'll tell you. And so I fly small planes, and when you're flying an airplane, there's checklists for everything. And when I was in the military, right, checklists for everything when you're a nuclear reactor
Sure.
operator. And this is why we have a checklist we call tap ifs for follow-ups. When you get to your car, we have a checklist that's called Let's Go, and the Let's Go checklist is don't dawdle around your car. I see so many people, they're do. They get to their car, they hang out, they're gonna check their stocks or whatever, and make sure that their Instagram likes are well documented and all those things, and they end up getting carjacked. Instead, we do things so the Let's Go checklist it's very quick. As soon as you get to the car, once you get in the car, lock your doors, engine on, transmission in gear, seat belts and scan. So it's LETSS, and then get organized and on your way. So it's move through that checklist as quickly as you can. Don't dawdle around in it. So again, second you get in, lock your doors. The number of people I see who get carjacked with their doors open boggles my freaking mind. Turn the engine on, put the transmission engaged. Okay, cool. Once I got that, that's great. Now as I'm putting my seatbelt on, look around, see what's going on around the outside world. Get whatever it is, because I get it. You got to put your phone down. You got to get your your stuff organized and all your trash, but do that quickly and then on your way. So that's we make those checklists as a quick way for people to simply pay attention and be cognizant of their space, so that the perps, they go hungry. You know what I mean? Like the vast majority of times the cheetah chases after the gazelle is at least paying attention enough to get away. And
Right.
That's what we want.
Right. Yeah. The first rule of gunfighting is always, number one, have a gun. It's just, it would make sense. Like, otherwise that's not a gunfight. If only one person's got to shoot, you've got a gun. Yeah. Now, but there are some, one of the things I think we've seen in the training industry, especially over like the last 10, 15 years, is an idea that a gun is a unitasker, to borrow a line from the great chef Alton Brown. It does one thing. It projects lethal force at a distance, or it threatens to project lethal force. What are some of the other tools that you would see based on the stuff that you've seen? If, okay, I've got my sidearm, I've got that taken care of, what else should I have with me?
I love what Chuck Haggard says, that if you don't have something between a harsh word and a gun, you're a fool.
Yeah.
Now, again, some people are going to say, I've got Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary here to make the dated pop culture reference. And that's great. I listen, I've got 16 years of martial arts study. I love martial arts. Every time you put hands on somebody, they put hands on you, man, you're at risk. And so I love OC spray. I think OC spray for the private citizen is a fantastic tool. We call it an eye poke in a can. And it's a long range eye poke in a can. So make sure you get the good stuff. At least 0.5% major capsaicinoids. More is better. The 1.4 is where you want to be. And newsflash, if they don't list what the major capsaicinoids percentage is, it sucks, and avoid it.
Yeah, okay. And you like the streams versus the gels or the pepper balls?
I very much prefer stream to gel. The problem with gel is, people worry about blowback. You really don't get blowback on stream until you've got about a 20-mile-an-hour wind. And that's a stout wind. That's way more wind than most people give it credit for. And the gel, if you don't get it directly in the mucous membrane, so right in the eyes, right up the nose, right in the mouth, it can take 45 seconds to 2 minutes to have effect. And that's way too long.
That's 45 seconds. You're getting a beat down. That's 45 too long.
Whereas the stream, it aerosolizes much more rapidly when it hits. So it hits skin and it hits all around and aerosolizes relatively rapidly. So you'll get really good effect in 2 to 3 seconds. And that's usually the first 2 seconds you get spray and they go, oh, geez, and they try to get stuff up. And then by the time they clear all that and they go, dude, and then,
and then that's the end of the fight. Yeah.
To make another dated pop culture reference, then the heat is on. Yes, reached all the way back for that.
Beverly Hills Cop 1 or 2, I forget which. It's a Glenn Fry song. Anyway, I think you might be right. We talk about that and pepper spray and stuff like that. Flashlights, what do you feel on that?
Loves me a flashlight. I mean, obviously, a pocket sun is always a good thing. I love having the ability to see, and I use my flashlight as a task tool all the time. I mean,
yeah.
I literally used my flashlight this morning. I had to look inside an engine compartment. And so guess what? This part of pre-flighting an airplane, right? So got to look in there, see what's going on. More brighter, more better. I love candela as a great, measure of how much work it's doing. People say, how bright is too bright, John? I think if it has recoil or sets things on fire, it's too bright.
Yeah.
Until it does that. If I have a lightsaber in my hands, then it's too bright, to use for illumination. Otherwise, go for it. And I love it as a deselection tool. So you come outside and I just, and I'm not doing tactical ninja-y, stuff or whatever, but just pop that light out of your pocket, look around a little bit. And you know what your average skulking goblin is going to look at and go, that's a cop. Nope, I'm not. Nope, I'll wait for another person. And they will. Yep. And even in a place like, a Walmart parking lot that's well lit, that when we think about darkness, people kind of do this stuff that they think it's like being out in the boondocks in the middle of nowhere, dead dark. Right. But we're far more likely to be in a low light and a kind of transitioning light where there's some parking lot lights, where there's a little bit of moonlight, but there's places to hide in that. And when you can illuminate the places to hide, you are way ahead of most people. So I love a flashlight. I love an OC spray. I think those are both excellent tools. And if you use a flashlight, so like I carry a fairly large light, and it makes a great Kubotan as well. So it makes a great short stick as a manipulation tool if you have to get into it with somebody. I don't think most people understand a short stick very well, but if you do and you actually utilize the short stick, it can be a very powerful tool.
Yeah, and the thing about low light is the bad guy has to see enough to know that we're the person he wants to go after. So it's, as Tom Gibbons, who we both trained with, says, for the average armed citizen, there's no such thing as street crime. There's parking lot crime.
Exactly right.
And that's the reality we have to deal with. You've done this now for quite a long time. We were talking before, we've known each other for many years, and your empire has really grown. We can call it empire now. You have minions, I'm
going to tell the staff that y'all are officially minions. Deal with it.
Yeah, there you go. Banana. Anyway, that would make you Gru, but anyway, and that would make Neil Doctor. Anyway, so the what do you got coming up now? What's the next big steps for active self-protection?
Well, we just launched a family of apps. We love YouTube. We're not planning on leaving YouTube, but it's you just never know. It's a big hulking behemoth that you never know what they're going to do. And so we launched a family of apps for people to find us so that they don't have to deal with Alphabet. And so that's iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire. And so we're really inviting people over there. We do a lot of unique content over there, as well as all the regular stuff with no ads and stuff. We're trying to work out filming dates for the first season of our feature-length TV show. Now that'll be in our family of apps. That's not, people have asked, oh, John, you're going to try to put that on one of the streaming platforms? No. If you know the actual film industry, there's $0 in any of that for anybody but the very tippy top. And so no, we're just going to put that out to everybody and bypass that whole system. We train instructors. So we have an instructor certification program that we teach firearms instructors how to teach and how to actually engage students. That's being very successful. Chris Bean and Carrie Dudenhofer lead that program, and they are incredible instructors of instructors. We're probably in 2024. I'm trying to get Carrie and Chris to go in on me on a mentor instructor program, helping somebody else become an instructor. Which we'll see if we get that launched in 2024. Stephanie's probably beat me about the head and shoulders for talking about that in a public place.
You heard it here first, people.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I started doing a decent bit of expert witness work and testifying in court. I don't think I'm going to do much of that in terms of ramping it up. I take about 3 cases a year, and some people are like, oh, John's becoming the next Mossad Ayub. Man, I don't know how Moss does it and keeps his sanity, because dealing with courts is an insane place to be. But we might start teaching.
He does it with coffee, cigarettes, and Gale. That's how he does it.
That's 100% correct. We joked after I hosted Moss for Deadly Force Instructor, I joked that Mossad Ayub is not actually a human. He's actually 3 raccoons in a skin suit, and they each have a pack of cigarettes a day habit. Oh, I love him to death, man. I really love that guy.
He's definitely one of those persons, like, who synthesized all that information and got it out there first. If you haven't had a chance to take a Masada Yub class, do so. It will rethread your head. It is a really good class.
I mean, not the least of which, Moss is in his mid-70s. You don't have many years to take his stuff. And when he's gone, he's gone. So I tell folks, Mag 40, that's his flagship class. Is if there is one class that I could make every concealed carrier take before they carry a gun, it would be Mag 40, 100%.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, same thing. So John, really love the fact, you're a new media superstar and a trainer and doing all this great stuff and a good advocate for the Second Amendment. You're out there having fun. You're out there enjoying life. You're not telling people to cower in a corner and be afraid of all this stuff. It's live your life, live it more abundantly, just live it with a firearm as well. And that's a great message I think we need to really get more of, because once we get people out to the range on this, I think I'm talking with Julie Golliver here recently. Once we get people out to the range and have people shoot, we win. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to shoot. And the more we can do that, to have people live safe lives and fun lives, the more we're going to win. They can find you, John, at where? Active Self-Protection, all the apps. It's activeselfprotection.com, Active Self-Protection on YouTube channels.
Yep.
All the different apps. I think I saw a
billboard.
You
can find us in the app stores. If you just search, it's Asp Unlimited in the app stores. So Google Play and, iOS and those things. Or you can go to our website, activeselfprotection.com. And watch.activeselfprotection.com is the family of apps. YouTube, just search Active Self-Protection. The two channels will both come right up. Love to help any.
You've got a blimp, I think, that's next.
We've joked about having an Active Self-Protection airplane, but I've heard very clearly from the Lord I'm not allowed to borrow money to buy a plane. So listen, everybody, go sign up on the app store to buy a plane, would you?
All right, cool, John. Thank you very much. Hey, and thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to shootingillustrated.com for more of these videos. We do quite a lot of them, and we don't want you to miss one.